If you are skeptical about the flag, then it means you are worldly, it means you are liberal, it means you are a whole load of positive things. But if you are Muslim and skeptical about the flag, then you are a threat. There is a sense in which the new way of talking about citizenship is not one which is progressive as such. In fact, it's one which is taking steps backwards.
I was born in Germany, but I came here
in Egypt and Cairo.
I wouldn't say that I'm not British. I have British passport, but I am
The initial reaction is always that I'm
I'm also Iraqi at the same time.
European, yes. English, no.
The project is a cross-national European project funded by the European Union, and it looks at the patterns of media consumption, especially television, among Arab speakers in the European Union. The most well-known case of transnational television, Arabic television, of course, is Al Jazeera. I would be surprised if there are people in the West now who haven't heard of Al Jazeera. But Al Jazeera just represents a small fraction of a very diverse mediascape, where we have hundreds and hundreds of transnational channels, and we have conducted research in London, Madrid, and Nicosia, Cyprus. The purpose of the study was to actually develop cross-European understanding of what Arab speakers watch and what they think about television and about politics across Europe.
There's very little audience research about Arab media anyway, but also it fits in quite well with the very widespread concern about Muslim communities in Europe. Arab is increasingly a difficult thing to define, particularly when you're looking at migrants, older people who might have migrated 30 years ago, and people who were born in London in the 1990s or 1980s, who still subscribe some notion of being Arab.
So what we found out is that the vast majority turns to different media for different reasons. And as a result, they become quite savvy, quite media literate about what is available. And they do a lot of comparing and contrasting between different sets of information they get, between different kinds of reporting and different kinds of ideologies that different media might offer to them. The transnational Arabic media, especially, are invaluable for many participants.
One of the things that was quite interesting was that language proficiency was an issue for young people who were raised in London, for example, so that while they might feel very Arab in terms of a notion of identity, they might not understand a news broadcast on Al Jazeera, for example, in Arabic. And so Al Jazeera English was important because it provided them with the similar feeling that they were getting a different perspective, but they could understand it.
So it wasn't that we asked them to say how they feel like Arabs. Our questions actually were quite open-ended. We would ask, for example, people to say who they think they are or how would they define themselves. But you could sense sometimes that the way they insisted actually in these multiple identities and emphasize how they are not compartmentalized showed us that they are very aware of a public discourse that requires them to choose sides, and they do reject that.
What you get from speaking to people is that most of them opt for the middle ground, which is that acknowledging, all the components of their, supposed identity. In relation to Muslim, there is intense scrutiny about these very unquantifiable feelings with regards to citizenship. So it's not about paying your taxes, it's not about abiding by the law, all of these kind of quite straightforward things. The new discourse is predominantly about things that are very difficult to measure.
There have been many assumptions about the role of Arabic language television in Europe. However, there's very little research. And we feel confident now as we come to the end of our project that what we have now is a cross-European collection of data with different methods that actually shows the complexity of the Arab media world and the different ways that people make sense of the television that they use and actually the politics that all these different media correspond to.